Sorry, I yelled loudly.
That's okay. I got the limiter on.
Okay. So
You can tell
setting?
Yeah, you can tell.
Wait, really? It automatically limits it when I yell?
It does. When the pitch gets too high, it does. Sometimes if you sound like all robotic, it's because it's bringing the decibels down.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. This is like the monkey's paw. For years, outlets like the Mary Sue, the Tumblr people, the Twitter people, they've all been like, well, they need to make Hermione black because she was black in the play, and JK Rowling was defending them race-bending Hermione Granger. Okay, and that sounds good on paper, and they're going to reboot Harry Potter, and they said they're going to be more diverse and inclusive. And of course, most people immediately thought of Black Hermione. They're going to make her black, right? It's going to be problematic because one of Hermione's major plot threads that they cut from the movies is freeing the house elves, aka freeing the slaves. And also, Hermione is often referred to as a mudblood. Again, making Hermione black is going to be a huge problem.
If they do. We don't know if they're going to make her black in this show. But they did in the plays, though. They did in the play.
That was adult Hermione, and they didn't even go there. But this is kind of funny because this is just like everything that they want. And honestly, I think at this point, Rowling would do it or greenlight it just to stick it to these people. Be like, well, you ain't seen nothing yet. We're going to make Hermione black, and then she's going to be freeing the slave elves, and she's going to be called a mudblood just because I can. Just because you wanted black Hermione,
it's funny because they're starting to catch on that maybe their demands aren't going to translate well current year with the problematic JK Rowling.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, many of these outlets, many of these people on Tumblr, Twitter, many longtime Potter fans, there's nothing she can do at this point that is going to be right in their eyes, so they're going to look for every possible reason to try to cancel her. They're just going to put more money in her coffers. Right. She's already got her champagne ready. But I think this is hilarious because 5 or 6 years ago, they would have been like, my God, it's amazing.
It's about time.
Brave casting choice. It is about time that Hermione's black.
And if you complained, you were a bigot. But I guarantee you, whoever they cast for these roles, whether they be, I'm sure they're going to be diverse people they're going to cast. And whether, whoever they cast for what, they're going to harass the hell out of children. Guaranteed. And adults for being part of the show, even if they're diverse. Because it's okay when they do it.
So let's talk about the freak out and the potential problem here. And it is a Sunday. It's a little slow, but I think they're a little slow because we actually did mention this. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. If you subscribe, you'll get a woohoo.
Woohoo!
Yeah, we've been following the situation with JK Rowling. We've been following the cancellation attempts on JK Rowling. We've been following the ridiculous situation around Hogwarts Legacy and the boycott that wound up being a boycott. And more people bought the game, I think, because of activists telling them not to buy the game. And
people are tired of places like the Mary Sue telling them what to do.
Right. And, I think pretty soon, given the way things are going, the owners of the Mary Sue are going to be pretty tired of the Mary Sue telling them what to do and not bringing in any money. Because, there's not a place for Tumblr hot takes as a business model anymore because the venture capital's run out. I digress. That's neither here nor there. But it's funny that they just now realized this. People have been talking about this ever since they made Hermione black, like years ago. They're like, hey, when she was a kid then, she basically was called a mudblood and freed the slaves. Isn't that kind of a problem? The troubling implications of a faithful yet inclusive Harry Potter adaptation. An essay on the Mary Sue. The very first sentence. As I'm writing this, there's an active genocide happening to transgender people. Where?
Okay, no, that's not true. There is, but not in this country. Like other countries, I'm sure that happens all the time. But in this country, it's not. Actually, what we've seen lately, we've heard lately was, people being killed, but not in the way you're describing.
JK Rowling is one of the most high-profile transphobes in the world. You need to watch it. Okay, so Mary Sue, I'm going to give you a word of advice. You're not going to take it because you probably hate me, but that's okay. Lots of people hate me, and I'm used to it. You can't just say that in print without there being possible legal ramifications. JK Rowling made the BBC apologize to her twice because an editor at The Gamer, actually the head editor, Stacey Henley at The Gamer, said something very similar during a BBC podcast. They were forced to apologize or face legal action. You might want to say some people think she's transphobic, or she's said some things that could be interpreted as being transphobic. You are definitively calling her a transphobe in print in the first paragraph of an article that's going to show up in Google News.
Yeah.
You're lucky nobody reads you, or her lawyers might be like.
But after this video, you might get some calls. Yeah, you know what? That's what gets me too is they keep saying transphobe. They keep using it like it's a catch-all. If it's not transphobe, it's turf. Basically, anybody who doesn't agree with every demand we make ever. Any woman who doesn't agree that somehow they are no longer a woman, they are now a birthing person or menstruating person is a transphobe. And I'm so fucking tired of hearing it because most people were not transphobic. But you know, you guys' behavior is causing that to be ramped up. So people who are innocent, who aren't involved in the activism, who just happen to be trans, are going to get caught up in the shit people like you at the Mary Sue are shoveling.
Literally saying she's pouring all of her royalties into killing trans people. Again, that's a very...
yeah, I hope she sees this.
A very dangerous thing to say. I'm just saying. You're saying JK Rowling is pouring excessive royalties into organizations lobbying for the extermination of trans people. Good luck with that. Anyway, that being said, even if you could ignore all that, there are still major red flags with the announcement of the Harry Potter reboot. Content warning, discussion of sexual assault. Wait,
you should put content warning before your first paragraph. Possible legal action, ahead.
Oh, God. As the gateway for Harry to learn about wizarding, white supremacy, Hermione is the marginalized person. Through her, we learn wizards have their own community slurs.
I'm sorry.
And blood hierarchy, something anti-vaxxers have. What the?
Oh, my God. This person's bad shit.
This is the weren't they just looking for writers at the Mary Sue because like they can't pay people anymore?
You know what's interesting to me too? The vaccines, they have just taken back the first versions that they made you all take.
Yeah,
they've walked us back that they're no longer the ones that they will approve of because they're dangerous.
Oh, you're not allowed to say that. Oh my God. Funny thing. For those of you who think that we are anti-vax here on Clownfish TV, one of us is vaccinated, one of us isn't. It's up to you to figure out who is who.
Oh, they know because we've talked about it before.
Anyway.
And one of us had a lot of health problems that appeared after that happened, and one of us didn't. And we both got COVID at the same time, and we both got it about the exact same level.
That is true.
Our unvaxxed son, who was young, got it worse than anyone.
That is true. So a lot of the things that we were told just seem completely upended. Anyway, what this has to do with because they basically are talking about pure bloods or whatever, and that's true because they're.
What's that have to do with her being white supremacy? I hate to break it to the Mary Sue. Okay, a couple things here. Over time, there's very, very few people in this world that are pure blood anything, because over the centuries they've intermingled, we'll put it that way. And people, it's funny to me, I was just talking about this the other day. There are people that look white and you would swear they're white, and they probably are descended from slaves.
And they're all being cast in Lilo and Stitch.
And there are people who look who are dark, very dark skinned, and they are definitely somewhat black, but their family came over way after slavery was done and everything else. You don't know. There are people that swore they were from Africa and all this shit, and then they got their DNA results back. They were from like Europe or stuff like that. You don't know based on appearance.
That was so.
I know.
Funny.
I know. You know what I'm talking about.
Funny. There was a case, and I forget her name, but I remember hearing about this. A woman who was all like, oh yeah, I'm descended from slavery, whatever, and she found out she was like strictly European. Like, yeah, you basically, your family has been in Europe for like ever. Like, I'm sorry, you're not from Africa.
I am like really, really pale, okay? Because I'm ginger and I'm pale. And my family is more racially diverse than Neon's family.
Yeah, apparently I'm a pureblood. I didn't know that.
No, you're not pureblood,
No,
but
I'm
you're
not.
you're no, but my family has, North Africa. We have Gypsy. There's actually a blood disorder in our family that traces back specifically to Gypsy, and different things like that. We have all these different things in us, and I'm very pale. But you'd be saying that you're just strictly white. It was a lie. Just like, and it shows up in a blood disorder that my family members currently have.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm actually, I actually thought I was more ethnically diverse than I actually am. But like, I look Greek.
You do. You look very, I'd say more Roman than Greek.
But like, I mean, I tan pretty dark and, and all that. And when I was younger, my hair was, jet black pretty much. And then I got and I'm like a quarter Scandinavian and like British. It was like, what the hell? But I am a little bit Greek. I'm a little bit Greek in there, but not to the extent I thought it was, which is weird.
You do have the features, but anyway, back to the point. The whole idea that it's white supremacy and being community slurs and hierarchy and blood stuff. It's like you do that now based on skin color, but you're going to find out that most people would be considered quote unquote mudbloods. They wouldn't. There's very, 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 very few people. I can't imagine any group, but there might be some people that are pure blood, anything. Most of us, no matter what color we appear to be, are mixed races.
Just like Hagrid said. He said there wasn't a witch or wizard that isn't a...
Yes.
So basically they're all like, oh, we're pure... Like the Malfoys. We're pure bloods, blah, 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 blah. It's like, nah, you had the side hustle going on there at some point there, Lucius. Anyway... they said that they basically tried to make her out to be like the outsider or whatever.
So they make her black, but somehow way worse.
There are overt canon characters of color in the series. Hermione's reception in the wizarding world as a Muggle-born is a primary tool for JK Rowling's weak allegory on prejudice. As the most marginalized book, Hermione is understandably most upset when she learns about slavery in the wizarding world. So we need to talk about the house elves. Yeah, they cut that whole plot. That's when people were like, one thing that people were really excited about, they're going to do the series, which is going to be based more directly on the books, is there are all these subplots that were cut. And this is one of the biggest ones that was cut from the Goblet of Fire. They couldn't Goblet of Fire honestly should have been 2 movies, but they cut the whole house elf thing out of it.
They did. They really did.
But they're like, well, that was once something many fans enjoyed. The longer we've had to think about the implications for the rest of the story, the more unsettling.
This is like batshit.
Other than being the brightest witch of her age, Hermione is best known in the books for her dedication to the abolition of slavery.
Well, what's that have to do with, even if you're black? I mean, I get, like, historically speaking, that's weird, but I don't really see how it's that big of a deal, personally. I mean, because we're talking about, one, slavery was over, that whole thing that happened was here, not over, where this story's taking place, for one. 2, this is a different, it's a different place. It's the wizarding world, not the Muggle world. You know what I mean? It's not the same thing.
So, yeah, long story short, and it is a long story, and that's why they shorten it, for the movies, is she begins spew, which sounds like a parody of like some other activist group or something. It's just, it's Hermione's spew.
Well, now when I hear about activist groups, I just want to spew.
Hermione begins the Society for the Promotion of Elvish Welfare. I'm sorry. Now it's going to be warfare. Now it's going to be like elf lives matter. Elb. Hermione's commitment to ending slavery throughout the books isn't an issue in itself. It's a reaction from everyone else and the characterization of the house elves themselves where things go south. So this is not going to go well, especially if they make Hermione black. And I think that just this...
We don't know that they're going to, first of all. But given that they didn't play, it'd be really weird if they don't.
Everybody mocks Hermione for caring. Her methods of activism are messy, but she's also a lone teenager. So it kind of becomes a butt of jokes, as I recall, that she's basically a Tumblerina. She's kind of like, when spew and the slavery, whatever. And she's, And so I can totally see Rowling giving her dealings with activists over the last couple of years being like, let's really lean into this and make Hermione look really stupid.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if she's going to do that, but because she's going to still have to be beholden to Universal too, to Warner Brothers. I mean,
nearly all the house elves resent Hermione's views.
Yeah.
So she's basically speaking on behalf of the elves who are completely happy. So we got this.
It's an allegory for stupid activists on Twitter.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Before Twitter existed.
And it's her spew. So yeah, it's going to be problematic, especially if they cast her as a black girl. It's going to be like, why the hell are you speaking on behalf of these elves?
If they wanted to keep it realistic for Twitter, they'd make her white with like some kind of half-shaved, multicolored hair.
Creature wants to stay in the house of his master and serve the worthy members of the black family. The black surname, it's a surname. Winky's so upset with her freedom it drove her to drink. So she became an alcoholic because she got her freedom.
Yep.
So this is going to be really interesting. Everyone gets upset when Hermione's activism goes from advocacy to action. If Harry Potter were a product of the 2010s, her classmates would call her an SJW. That's probably the joke.
Yes.
That's probably the joke. Because I think even back then, Rowling was looking at fake activism because Harry Potter's set in the 90s.
And that was, we had the PC
culture and save the planet, save the earth.
Your whole bullshit now isn't new. It happened before, but you guys taken it a lot further because of the internet. You guys have gone a lot more crazy than they did back then. At least back in the 90s, they had some semblance of, reality.
This is funny. House elves stopped coming to clean the rooms. Her classmates blame her. The only other person that works to end slavery is Liz Tuttle, Neville, Ron, and Harry technically join Spew, but just to keep Hermione off their backs. They didn't want to get canceled. They didn't want to get canceled by SJW Hermione. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting, especially if they make her more inclusive. So we get down to the bottom here. And again, we have Hermione being called a mudblood and Hermione being the one who awkwardly tries to free the house elves and everybody hates that she's doing it because she's obnoxious as hell. Mm-hmm. Beyond a black Hermione, they said that the announcement is how Warner Brothers Discovery is going to cast the show. That's a concern. Current expectations of casting a project like this will be used to downplay the accusations of bigotry. After all, reports came out saying Hogwarts Legacy introduced a trans character. Basically, they had the character
likely before. They didn't just make it just because of you guys.
Right. Rowling has retconned and revised without admitting mistakes to this point. It's become a joke because she's retroactively added racial and sexual diversity.
Yes, and I want to point out, people like you and the Mary Sue applauded it, cheered it. Yeah. Went on about what a great person she was. Oh, let's give her an award. She's our hero. You people were the ones who lifted her up on a pedestal and kissed her ass.
Yeah, they were pissed off that Nagini was turned into an Asian woman.
Yes. And the thing is, the people that read the books that were the loyal people were like, why are you changing stuff now? It's a little weird. They're the ones that said it was stupid and pointed it out. But people like you were the ones who cheered for it.
So here we go. Summed up in one tweet.
Shut my mouth. Yay, give me more.
Summed up in one tweet. Getting all my Harry Potter takes off my chest today so I can ignore it from now on. I'm so sorry, but Black Hermione is not the casting flex anyone wants it to be. Half of her story is getting hate crimed with magic. The other half is doing homework for two white boys who low-key hate her, and also freeing the slaves, which nobody appreciates. Yeah, and she's an obnoxious character. They make her black, I'll scream. Remember when JK Rowling was like, well, I never said she wasn't black. Lady. Yeah, she is probably the most likely to get race swapped. Again.
Which is surprising because Ron's there.
Yeah.
But that's somehow worse because they're
I will ship Ron and Harry together.
Probably.
That's why Ron is so nasty to Harry. It's all the sexual tension. He wants to raise wands.
Apparently.
Raise wands, not Rons. That raises Ron. Anyway, she is the most likely. If they do this, and they talked about being more ethnically sensitive, they're absolutely going to cast her as black. She's already been black before in The Cursed Child. They'll totally do it. The Mary Sue's going to scream if they're still around then. I don't know if they'll be around then. But all the people that are left on Twitter will be like, oh my God, you know what they did? It's like, you cheered for this. You cheered for this a couple of years ago. And then you had time to think about it. And now you hate JK Rowling, and now it's problematic. So be careful what you wish for. It's going to be like a monkey's paw, But at this point, a lot of these people are going to be like, we're not going to watch it anyway because we hate her. That's okay. Lots of other people are going to watch it. It's probably going to be a huge success. She's already got her champagne ready. There's not much you can do about it.
And now the Mary Sue is going to get sued and put out of business because they basically just started off by calling her a transphobe and just flat out said it in writing and said that she personally is responsible for trans people being killed.
That's really dumb. So good luck with that. We're going to wrap this up.
You might want to change that.
You might
Just FYI.
friendly-
I would go and fix that if I were you.
Right, just a little friendly advice there. You're going to get yourself in some trouble. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.